So, hello everybody, welcome back to Snetterton if you are just joining us on the live stream. If you were here yesterday, absolutely welcome back. And if you are joining us for the first time today, welcome along to this weekend. We've seen fabulous racing so far from the Enduro KA series. Obviously yesterday we were joined by the MSVT Track Day Championship and by the Miata Trophy. Today we've already seen effectively all formulas out there on circuits. We've just finished a 30-minute practice session for the Enduro Car Series. Obviously they will resume their 6-hour race with the final 3 hours at around about 1:30. We've seen qualifying from the Clio Cup GB and from the MSVT Track Day Trophy, and we've already seen a little bit of tussling, let's say. MSVT Track Day Trophy, free space on the circuit was at a premium, so that gave us a very interesting qualifying session indeed. We do have a race on the way, however. We will get 20 minutes worth of Clio Cup GB racing in just prior to the lunch break, and then we have a 45-minute race from the MSVT Track Day Trophy, the second and final race from the Clio Cup GB before we get to the main event, the 3-hour Enduro Kart race to round out this weekend. Myself, Jack Rowell, joining you again as we did yesterday, the same commentary team, and alongside me it is Adam Reed.
Yeah, so really looking forward to seeing how these races turn out. Of course, the Clio Cup GB, it's going to be a brilliant series. Of course, we've already seen the qualifying session when it went really well. We'll go over the grid once we get cars onto the grid. But at the moment, I believe they're in the waiting area, or at least just trying to make their way through. But yeah, these races are going to be absolutely brilliant. We've got clear skies this time around here at Snetterton. I believe we're going to, it's going to continue all the way through. No sign of clouds near enough, but which is a completely different story compared to what we got yesterday, where we had, in fact, a little bit of rain. I was speaking to one of the Enduro KA drivers, Andy Burton, and he was saying that you could see rain on the horizon down at Riches, and it was kind of a guessing game whether it was going to head over to the circuit or if it was just going to pass by, but alas, it just stayed where it was, passed by the circuit, and we didn't get any rain showers. But yeah, now it's going to be different conditions with the way the track is going to be heated up. So we've had some rubber laid down from all three of our series that are going to be competing today. So the rubber has been laid down, and now we are hopefully going to be getting our Clio Cup GB drivers out onto the grid. Just trying to peer over from our commentary position, which just stands right beside the gantry, to see if we can possibly find any of our Clio Cup drivers. But there you can see right down that start-finish straight, and then of course we do have on the exit of Murray, so some really nice corners around here. Of course, corner along right-hander, and then of course Riches really nice in towards the turn one, and then we've got the technical section in the middle of the circuit. So really interested to see how these drivers are going to approach it, and of course very technical stuff. It's primary for batting between these cars, and I really do believe that we're going to be getting some really neat racing. And of course, they're going to be getting their elbows out for sure. But there you can see our Clio Cup GB drivers heading onto the grid, and my goodness, Jackie, this is going to be a good one.
It will be indeed, and of course, this is the new Clio Cup car for this year, and it is being both used globally and in the Clio Cup GB as well. They are all a 4-cylinder, 1.3 litre turbocharged engine. The maximum power is, it says max power, but it's anything over 200 brake horsepower you should expect from a new engine. 300 newton meters of torque, direct injection, so effectively a proper race-built engine with a race-built chassis, and it is fully supplied and assembled by Alpine Racing, so really racing at its roots. Coming into this weekend, Ben Colburn leads the championship on 183 points after a very successful weekend at both the opening round at Brands Hatch and at Anglesey. We've also seen Dara Flock. He's worked his way up into second in the championship following a successful round at Anglesey after tying with Nicky Taylor leaving Brands Hatch. So he's on 178 points, only 5 points behind his Westbourne Motorsport stablemate, Nicky Taylor, on 165 points. He won the inaugural return of the Clio Cup GB race at Brands Hatch, the first race of the season. Unfortunately, Anglesey didn't quite go to plan for him, meaning that he remains third in the championship, and he's got a bit of work to do to try and get his way back into the mix. 13 points away from Dara Flock. Ben Jenkins is fourth in the championship at the moment, missing out on Brands Hatch, but a good points haul at Anglesey leaves him fourth in the championship. And Jeremy Evans, only 6 points behind, should be joining us this weekend, but I can't see him now. His car's still in the paddock, so Jeremy Evans, unfortunately, isn't joining us on the grid this weekend, but his car is here potentially as a spare. By way of the team standings, it is Westbourne Motorsport leading the way, of course. Ben Colburn and Dara Flock are currently first and second in the championship. The way in which they will line up is following qualifying, in which we saw this morning, so we are waiting for them to go out onto their green flag warming up lap, in which they do now. So the grid looks like this. Car number 55, Ben Colburn, lines up on pole position once again. Dara Flock, the Westbourne Motorsport teammate, lines up alongside 55 and 22 on row number 1. Then it is Nicky Taylor and Ben Jenkins on row 2, car number 17 and car number 99. And then we get out of the Clio Cup Gen 5 Phase 2 cars, and we work our way into the Gen 4 cars. This is Ray Honeybone. He lines up on row 3 alongside Kevin Sterling, 44 and 53 on row 3. And all on his own on row number 4, it is the 166 machine, Richard Clark. And effectively, that car has got a bit of a better standpoint. They're starting on the front foot in that car. So obviously, they've been out in the MSVT Track Day Trophy. So Richard Clark, he's really racking up the mileage this weekend, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And looking at this grid, it's going to be super. I really do think that we're going to be getting some really good grid racing. Of course, the first time I've seen the Clio Cup GB, so really interested to see how the racing has been. Of course, the first race that I've seen from these cars, apart from having a sneak peek at Anglesey, when you were absolutely smashing it on the microphone. But it does seem to be our three protagonists, Ben Colburn, Dare Flock and Nicky Taylor. So I wonder who's going to have the upper hand in this one, called Ben Colburn putting in that brilliant lap time of a 2:11.7 in that number 55. Of course, Dare Flock, the Irish driver, who looked pretty happy after his P2 performance. Nicky Taylor, of course, was in fact pole position for the majority of the session, but at his home race will fall down to third. But he does seem pretty confident in this one. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't throw it off the circuit, unfortunately, like he did a couple of times at Anglesey when we spoke about that this morning. So he's going to try and keep himself composed all throughout this entire race. And I think a circuit where, from what I've heard, and he said to me this morning that he felt very comfortable around the circuit. He's been around here many times in a mini JCW in the Trophy Challenge, I believe it was, and he's been around it here many times on the simulator. It's one of his favourite circuits. He always goes around here, and yeah, definitely has a big potential of pretty much potentially winning this race, but it's going to be very difficult with Colburn and Flock. But don't forget Ben Jenkins in the 99. You see that car just behind that beautiful neon yellow and black and orange of Nicky Taylor's. Just looking behind there, and there you see the main white base to the slash of the blue and pink of Ben Jenkins, and he has some big potential. He's looking to try and potentially get a podium as well, but that's never usually easy in these races.
No, it is very tricky. They're very hard fought. The podium is pretty much far from settled until the very final lap, and even then they do absolutely everything they can to make it hard work for everybody else. It was fabulous to watch at Anglesey. It has been the same all season long, so we'll look forward to yet another fabulous outing from the Clio Cup GB. Nicky Taylor, in qualifying this morning, he was on provisional pole position for pretty much the entire session, but all of a sudden Dara Flock and it was Ben Colburn in the very last lap of qualifying seemed to come through and just about beat him to the post for provisional pole position and lock out the front row. Another Westbourne Motorsport front row lockout. We're starting to see a bit more of that, but Nicky Taylor, he won't make it easy for him. He's got a fabulous Graves team behind him, and Ben Jenkins, he's put some real mileage on that car. New chassis for this year. He's been racing in the MSVT Track Day Championship, the MSVT Track Day Trophy, and of course Clio Cup GB, alongside other series and tests in which he has done elsewhere. So that car has got plenty of mileage on the chassis now. So the grid is all but formed. We just need to wait for Richard Clark to find his way in towards his respective position. Dara Flock just making sure he can get his car well and truly tucked inside his grid box. 5-second board held aloft. We wait for the red lights to go on, in which they do now, and as soon as they go out, we'll get this race underway. A slight bit of creeping from Dara Flock. He's got to be careful as the lights go out. Who gets the best start? Ben Colburn initially gets a fabulous start, so too does Nicky Taylor. Dara Flock, the second phase of the start really didn't go his way, so Nicky Taylor up into second place, and Ben Colburn holds on to the lead. Dara Flock will try and defend from the outside as Nicky Taylor has a little look to the inside. Nicky Taylor side by side on the run through turn 1, and now the Gen 4s go away. A cracking start from Jordan Honeybone, or Ray Honeybone, pardon me, and then they are slightly slower away, but for the moment Nicky Taylor, he's trying to challenge Ben Colburn for the lead, looking to the inside on the run up towards Wilson's, and he just can't quite open the door. But all of a sudden Dara Flock, he's going to have to try and fight back. A poor start has really left him on the back foot really early.
Absolutely, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to now start that fight back. But Nicky Taylor looking pretty strong. He just needs to keep himself composed, not throw that car off the road, especially in the early stages. There's a 20-minute race, and there's so much that can happen in this time. And I'm sure you know, Jack, this is going to be pretty competitive through the left-hander here of Agostini and Ben Colburn, really keeping that car in front here. But Dare Flock is trying to climb all over the back of Nicky Taylor and try and reclaim that place. But I wonder how these next couple of chess moves will play out here. There's Ben Jenkins in the background in his Gen 5, turning their way now in toward the right-hander of Oggies, and now who can get the best run down towards the Bentley Straight. And I think this is where it's going to start getting a little bit harem-square, because all the battling going down in towards the left-right chicane of Brundle and Nelson's, where it's going to start to really become apparent. Looks like Flock is onto the back of Taylor here. He's gaining, but just staying in the slipstream for now. Taylor will try and go to the outside, look to the inside, but now Ben Jenkins go for the defensive, and they head in toward the very tricky technical chicane. It looks like a 10-second time penalty we're being told on our gantry on our screen for Richard Clark. He jumped the start for the Gen 4 grid. Of course, they got a bit of a 10-second delay, but looking back on our screens, it looks like Nicky Taylor wants that inside line going in towards Coram, but that's not the place to do it. That's going to leave you on the high side, and then probably falling back into the side of Ben Colburn, and of course that would result in an incident. Not ideal what they want to in that case, but they stay clean now. And Taylor, I think, just testing Colburn here so far. They power their way over the straight in this 2x2, and looks like Taylor to the outside.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor looking to the outside on the run up towards Ritchie's. We do have Ben Colburn on the inside. Dara Flock will try and follow his teammate through turn 1 and leave Nicky Taylor on the very outside, but somehow Nicky finds the grip. And is he going to go into the lead? Is he going to hold station in second place? It will be the outside for the next hairpin at Wilson as well. Dara Flock will have the preferred line on the inside, but Nicky Taylor, he's looking all the way around the outside. Ben Colburn trying to defend his lead. Can Nicky Taylor just about hold the overlap? No, not this time. That's now left him vulnerable to Dara Flock. The Irishman sat there in third place. He's trying to make that second. Richard Clark was indeed provided a 10-second time penalty for being out of place on the start, and somehow Dara Flock finds all the grip around the outside at Palmer's, and he's going to try and make that second place stick. He'll be on the outside for Agostini once again. If he can brake slightly later, in which he can't, Nicky Taylor may go slightly deep as he's desperately trying to get that car slowed down. Pitched into the apex. Dara Flock will look for the later apex and the better exit, which I think has gone his way. He's gaining on the short burst towards Palmer's, and he can't on the short burst towards Hamilton, and the door doesn't open, so Nicky Taylor just about holds on to second place now. But in all that battling, it's allowed Ben Colburn to run away. Nicky Taylor very wide on the exit of Hamilton. That leaves him vulnerable on the entry into Oggies, and Dara Flock starting to muscle him forward now. All of this battling is allowing Ben Colburn to run away and allowing Ben Jenkins to get back in on this little battle as well. They do have to be careful of track limits. We know they are being monitored quite stringently throughout this weekend, as we've seen track limits, warnings and penalties be applied so far. Dara Flock isn't intentionally tapping the brakes, it's just how stiffly sprung these cars are. If his foot is just tapping the brake, they're so sensitive, it will flash the lights on. Dara isn't trying to slow the car down in a straight line, but he's really starting to apply that pressure onto Nicky Taylor, through Brundle, through the right at Nelson, bouncing over the curb. Nicky Taylor, second place, is far from secure.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just sticking on the rear here. Oh, a bit of a slide there through bomb hole as they turn their way in towards Coram, but Dara Flock really looking to see if he can find that opportunity, trying to maybe potentially go around the outside Coram, trying to fit that car maybe on the inside. They head in towards Murray's, and that's going to get pretty close. They need to start now working between each other, because Otherwise, Colburn is just going to have an easy Sunday drive all the way home. They power their way back onto the centre straight, and there they go, past our commentary position. I wonder if Flock is going to try that move. He was looking potentially at that inside, but also back out of it. He thinks that he thinks it's potentially going to be the inside for Wilson, but is he going to set up that move up now? No, it looks like Nicky Taylor's going to send him right round the outside and said, if you've got that overlap, trying to go for the outside. It's a difficult manoeuvre, but I don't think Flock's going to have it this time around. Taylor defending really, really well in that one.
There he is. Nicky knows exactly where to place the car over the line in the lead of the Gen 4 class. Is Ray Honeybone. He continues to pull away from everybody else thereafter, that being Clark and Sterling, who unfortunately has gone missing somewhere out there on circuit, and I haven't seen him return to the pit lane as of yet. So unfortunately we have lost Kevin Sterling. Nicky Taylor still just about fending off the attentions of Dara Flock, and the pair of them are closing in now on Ben Colburn. So Ben will see Nicky Taylor in the Dayglow orange, yellow and black machine, becoming an ever-looming threat in that rear-view mirror. Dara Flock in turn is trying to stick with Nicky and potentially provide a little bit of aid to his Westbourne Motorsport teammate Ben Colburn. Ben Jenkins is still very much in the reckoning with this one. Any small mistake from those cars up the road and he will get involved, but they're battling so hard. We're starting to see Ray Honeybone catch all four of those Gen 5 cars further up the road. Nicky Taylor quick in a straight line. He's trying to close that gap up onto Ben Colburn. Dara Flock in turn trying to do exactly the same by the time they arrive up at Brundle and Nelson. Is Nicky Taylor going to have a look to the inside? No, he's going to hold station in second place for the moment, but he can't afford to be too patient because Dara Flock is absolutely there. Those top three are locked together and they will continue to be so for the next 13 and a half minutes.
Really, really well, and I think Taylor has got to go for the lead at this point. He wants to get that experience and lead in the race, not just because he's only got one win to his name, but of course Ben Colburn is doing all the leading so far, so why not get a little bit of battle experience with Ben Colburn. But there goes Dara Flock looking to that inside for Murray's corner. He's going to slide down the inside. It's a wonderful move, but Taylor will have the up and under to try and squeeze his way through. Flock's going to give him that little bit of a tap on the side door as they power their way now. There goes Colburn. Here comes this little tussle here between the 22 and the 17, and they look for the outside line here. Who's going to have it? It might be Nicky Taylor, but I think he's just going to have to get squeezed out here, unfortunately. But there you go, Dara Flock with a wonderful launch, and he's going to do the exact same. So deja vu. This time it's switched around. Taylor to the outside, Flock to the inside, and it's the same way around. The inside always prevailing in that one. So that's a pretty good piece of experience. I think Flock realised what was happening last Moran and said, well, I'm just going to do the same thing, and eventually made it into second place. Now this is going to be all down to if Flock can catch Colborne, because Taylor's going to look pretty he's going to look at that move around the outside, but just not quite there. They're going to have to try and close in on Colburn if they really want this opportunity and try and make this three-car battle here.
Yeah, Ben Colburn continues to extend that lead margin. Dara Flock with a very well worked move. He spotted the gap around the outside on the run in towards Coram. Quite a brave place to go for the move, but I think he lulled Nicky Taylor into a false sense of security, thinking that he wasn't going to go for it. Jinked out at the last minute on the brakes, backs the car in, scrubbed off the speed with the rear axle whilst on the brakes, and all of a sudden got a good run out of Murray's, which left Nicky Taylor all of the work to do in a straight line. It didn't come to him, but now he is in the driving seat effectively. He can dictate what Dara does. Is he going to run away up the road, or is he just going to fill those mirrors and place the car in the left-hand side mirror, the right-hand side mirror, and just make it hard for Dara, in which he's doing in a straight line. He's trying to force Dara defensive, which worked initially. Nicky Taylor not quite so late on the brakes on the run through Brundle and Nelson, so Dara Flock is trying to extend that margin in second place. All of this battling is continuing to bring Ben Jenkins in on the mix, and with all of that battling going on, we mentioned that Ray Honeybone will be closing in. Absolutely he is. Fastest lap of the race goes to Ray Honeybone with a 2-minute 12.267, so he is closing on all of those cars up the road. Ben Colburn on three wheels, we mentioned we'll see plenty of that, as so stiffly sprung are these Clio Cup Gen 5 Phase 2 cars. Out of the final corner come the top four. Ben Colburn continues to lead the way. The gap was 1.2 seconds last time through. It'll be substantially more this time, I would imagine, with Dara Flock and Nicky Taylor continuing to battle. Over the line they go. 1.2 seconds turned into 1.6. Fastest lap of the race now goes to Ben Colburn, a 2-minute 11.807. So Ben Colburn, one of the fastest drivers we've seen all day long. Dara Flock's still sat there in second place. Then it's Nicky Taylor, then it's Ben Jenkins. That is your top four in the Clio Cup GB Gen 5 Cup. And now we're starting to see Nicky Taylor late on the brakes, dives his way up the inside of Dara Flock, somehow found the door open. Dara Flock left himself vulnerable, and Nicky Taylor back up into second place.
Really, really good stuff there. Of course, he knew what Flock was going to do in that case, I believe, because of course it's happened once again. That inside move seems to be very, very much the way to go. But these guys are continuing to battle along and still giving Colburn that extra bit of breathing room to gain that little bit of rhythm, and it will take a lot to potentially get him off. But yeah, you saw that really clean move. They've just been continually going at it, and I wonder if one of them, or maybe potentially both of them, are thinking, right, let's stop battling, there's a lead in here, and we want to go for it. There's maximum points in this potential, and especially the home driver Nicky Taylor is going to absolutely gun for it. Especially a win at your home event is always special. Your home circuit, the circuit you've grown up knowing that is only a couple of miles away down the road. It's always nice to get a win there. And there is Richard Clark, who's of course still got that penalty. Unfortunately, we lost Kevin Sterling earlier on in the race, so he's unfortunately found himself out of the race with no laps to his name. But there you can see Taylor against Flock. It's still again Colburn looking to potentially try and extend that lead, but heading into the quorum, that could all change here. It looks like Colburn is just putting his car in the right position, in the right place at the right time. We're heading in towards Murray's as well. We hopefully see that gap start to come down. The tow will be massive down both the Bentley Straight and the Centre Straight, which they're currently approaching their way on now. And Ben Jenkins is keeping himself not quite very occupied in that P4 spot. He's still losing a little bit of touch to those cars ahead, but there you can see Dara Flock looking to the inside of Nicky Taylor. But I'm sure there'll be a little bit of frustration there for Taylor, because he's not quite catching Colburn and having to continuously look behind at what Flock is doing. And that's not the way forward here for either of these two.
No, Ray Honeybone, again, another fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 11.177, so going quicker than all of those cars up the road, continuing to catch on Ben Jenkins, Dara Flock, Nicky Taylor and Ben Colburn. Nicky Taylor is now really having to defend from Dara Flock. Dara was very optimistic, had a look around the outside at Palmer. The circuit does fall away from you before it then rises uphill and almost bobbles its way back towards Agostini. Ben Colburn heading his way in towards Agostini, continuing to lead the race. Nicky Taylor more than occupied with Dara Flock. I think Dara will understand now, his teammates leading the way. If he can make this hard work for Nicky, what he will be doing is just affording his teammate a bit of breathing room, which he may need. Still 7.5 minutes still to go. Dara Flock giving chase on Nicky Taylor. He's really trying to force the move, and a bit of a rear lock-up. Like we said, we'll see plenty of that as the rear of the car gets so light in the braking areas, just because all of the weight is over that front axle, and then lifting the inside rear wheel Nicky Taylor. So too is Dara Flock as they go rattling over the curb on towards the Bentley Straight once again. So Ben Colburn's lead remains at about the same last time through, mainly because it was a personal fastest lap from Nicky Taylor, Dara Flock and Ben Jenkins, along with a fastest lap of the race by Ray Honeybone. So Ben Colburn effectively one of the slowest drivers out there on that lap prior. But for the moment, Nicky Taylor, he's not managing to shake off the attentions of Dara Flock, is he?
No, he's not. He's just continually harassed there by Flock, and Flock is saying, I want to get through, I want to get that P2, I want to be able to chase down Colburn. But in all honesty, the only way they're going to do it is if they do it together and turn that 2-car battle for second into a 3-car battle for the lead. And Colburn is just having that absolute Sunday drive together. I'm sure this won't be the same thing for the second race we'll have later on, but this is kind of like their audition for that second race. So we'll see a lot more action. We'll see a bit more potential in the overtaking. But yeah, there's time to lose a little bit of time now, up to 1.8 for Ben Colburn. But you've really got to give credit to Colburn. His pace has been really, really, really good. His pace has been really consistent, and he set a personal best last time around with over 2:11.675. And of course, Taylor and Flock was actually slower last time around, 2/10 for Nicky Taylor. But there is Flock on the inside. The Irishman threw it up the inside, and for the Norfolk-based driver of Nicky Taylor has unfortunately had to concede that position once again. So I don't think any of the focus is now down on the lead of the race. They're just focusing on themselves second. So really interesting to see how they've kind of battled amongst each other, and I wonder if they're thinking that at this point now the win is out of contention, but Nicky Taylor wants that inside line, but Flock doesn't absolutely know you don't, and shut the door on him. Derflock. In fact, did a personal best last time around, 2:11.872, but that was only it was in fact a tenth, well, about a hundredth slower, maybe even less, to Nicky Taylor. So they're continuing at a decent pace, but still just ever so slower than Ben Colburn. And what about Honeybone there in P5? Again, another faster lap of the race for him at 2:10.9, still just gaining there, and could potentially take Ben Jenkins for P4 by the end of the race.
Yeah, now Dara Flock, he's going to be on the defence because, of course, both himself and Ben Colburn race for Westbourne Motorsport, so he's not going to want Nicky Taylor to close in on Ben now. They are in a dream position, they can pick up a 1-2, so Dara Flock very much on his mirrors, very much defending. He will try not to sort of overdrive the car to run away. He shouldn't really be driving on his mirrors, that's how mistakes can be made, but let's be honest, Dara knows exactly what he's doing. He's had a very successful campaign in the Junior Saloon Car Championship in the years previous, and you can see that with the car getting all out of shape on the running towards Murray's, but skillfully back under his spell, and will now focus on keeping Nicky Taylor behind, or at least breaking the toe to make it even harder for Nicky Taylor. Ray Honeybone, as you say, last time through with another fastest lap of the race, so by far and away the fastest car out on circuit. Ben Colburn goes over the line, followed by Dara Flock and Nicky Taylor, who's closing in once more. Ben Jenkins over the line, 4th place, but he's now going to have to worry about defending from Ray Honeybone, so one of the Gen 4 cars immediately trying to attack on the Gen 5 Phase 2s, so Ray Honeybone on an absolute mission. He's trying to work his way even further into the overall top 5. Ben Jenkins will worry about defending. Dara Flock on 3 wheels on the brakes on the running towards Wilson, still trying to defend from Nicky Taylor. Ben Jenkins runs slightly wide on the brakes, potentially just letting Ray through. He may see how quickly Ray was approaching in that rear view mirror, and then will the last thing he will want to do is lose any time fighting with Ray, but I think they are going to be fighting on the run towards Agostini. Dara Flock has managed to put a couple of cars' lengths between himself and Nicky Taylor. Ray Honeybone has indeed got in front of Ben Jenkins, and now we know that Ray's the quickest car out on circuit, as last time through with another fastest lap of the race, a 2:10.818. If Ben Jenkins sits behind him, all of a sudden Ben could be towed back up onto the coattails of Nicky Taylor and Dara Flock, but there's only 3.5 minutes for him to do so.
Yeah, I think if he definitely had that extra 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes, there could potentially be another battle with Ray Honeybone being so quick. You can tell from that the way that Gen 4 car is really running super well. But yeah, Ben Jenkins will be a tad frustrated. He's not quite got the hang of that car just yet. He still needs to do a little bit more testing, maybe a couple more races, and then maybe when we get into that second season in 2025, we could see him right up there and potentially getting podiums and wins. So there's plenty more opportunity for Ben Jenkins to have a really good opportunity to get those successful, what a lot of drivers like to call pots and points. So definitely a big potential there for Ben Jenkins. We've been speaking about this on the comms, off the comms, and that there's a big potential for the Clio Cup GB, but at this moment in time, we're currently looking on our screens. There's a decent lead here for Ben Colburn, but has he kind of lifted off the gas a little bit? He's looking like he's we got last time around was at 1.9, but with Flock and Taylor now starting to potentially gain on him, is that going to change? We'll see over the timing line as we approach it up to 2.1 in fact, so the gap extending as Taylor tries to look on the outside line in towards Rich's corner, and Flock is going to really have to play it defensive. Will Taylor go to the inside this time around? He does look to attempt it, but Flock knew what he's doing, and it looks like now Taylor is going to have to go around the outside, hard on the brakes, turn it in, really rack the car around the hairpin. It looks like Taylor's going to have to now have another attack here, but what about Ray Honeybone? He is 5 seconds back, but I don't think it's just enough time to latch onto the back of this second and third place battle, but this has been mega for all these drivers.
Absolutely, it's been great to see. They may have just gone on to their final lap of the race. It will have been tight whether they will squeeze in another one here as they work their way out of Agostini. I think they will be on their final lap of the race, but I think it might be close. They will come to the line with either just a handful of seconds remaining, or they will well and truly be on their final lap. So at the moment, Ben Colburn continues to lead. Dara Flock still having to defend from Nicky Taylor on the run through Oggies. Having a little look to the inside is Nicky, but it will compromise his exit by the time they get towards Williams. So we'll see as to exactly how that will play out on the run down the Bentley straight and in towards Brundle and Nelson for what could potentially be the final time. It will be close, 50 seconds remaining. I think we might just squeeze another one out of this race here.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely might be able to get that another lap in, and I just wonder if that kind of means anything. It will definitely mean something to Nicky Taylor, and now mean he gets another attempt at trying to fly past the Irishman of Der Flock. It looks like Dara is right on it for the moment, on it like a bonnet, but there's still plenty of opportunities to maybe get that move done for Nicky Taylor. And I think that Taylor may be able to, he might be waiting in the wheel tracks for Dara Flock to make it a bit of a mistake. He's a little bit wide going towards Coram and Murray's, and I wonder if that is going to give him a little bit of an opportunity. There is Ray Honeybone trying to catch into P4, but one more lap to go. Taylor to the outside, and with Dara Flock just playing it defensive, I wonder if we're going to be seeing a classic dive bomb in toward the right hand of the hairpin. But it looks like Nicky Taylor at this moment in time is going to have to play chases as well. We ticked down to 0, so managing to get that final lap in just before it went to 0. But there is Ben Colburn. In fact, the gap has come down. Both Flock and Taylor have done personal best last time around. 2:11.2 for Flock, 2:11.3 for Taylor, and I wonder if they're really going to go all out on this one. It does look like so, and Colburn has definitely taken his foot off the pedal.
Yeah, I don't know whether he has. I think just whilst they're battling, and obviously they're getting aerodynamic assistance, Dara Flock and Nicky Taylor are effectively helping each other whilst hindering each other in the battles that they have been locked into. Nicky Taylor again arriving on 3 wheels into camera shot on the run towards Agostini. Ray Honeybone really isn't far away, another 5 minutes, and he will have absolutely been there on the coattails of Nicky Taylor and Dara Flock. Ben Colburn continues to lead the way, 1.5 seconds, so he will just be nursing that car home. He might not be looking for purple sectors, but just staying at least level on his delta. That is exactly what he'll be looking for. His overall fastest is an 11.552. Last time through was an 11.851, so just 0.3 off the fastest that he's gone all race. The consistency from everybody inside that sort of top 5 has been absolutely fabulous. Ben Jenkins has been very, very consistent indeed as well. His fastest lap of the race, a 2:12.431. Last time through, a 2:12.440, so only 9 thousandths away from his fastest lap of the race. So Ben Colburn picking his way in towards Brundle and Nelson for the final time. Dara Flock still giving chase, but also having to defend from Nicky Taylor. He's just put a couple of cards lengths between himself and Nicky once again, so he's just trying to keep this keep this podium safe on the run towards the final couple of corners. This could be a Westport Motorsport 1-2 once again. They've been doing that plenty over this year. So Ben Colburn on the run through the long right-hander at Coram once again, arriving on 3 wheels, and for the final time in this race. They get to do it all again later on this afternoon, flicking the car left through Murray's. He will have the short run uphill towards the start-finish line. So Ben Colburn come towards the line. He can see the checkered flag being ready for him. Ben Colburn comes through and wins the first Clio Cup GB race of the weekend here at Snetterton, and yet further extends his championship leading margin. Dara Flock, a hard-fought second place, comes through and takes the second step on the podium, and Nicky Taylor rounds out your podium, so another podium going the way of Nicky Taylor. Ray Honeybone comes through to finish in 4th place in the guest class with the fastest lap of the race as well, a 2:10.818. And Ben Jenkins' consistency was absolutely fabulous, going quicker still on that very final lap of the race. So Ben Jenkins rounds out your top 5. It was then Richard Clark with that 10-second time penalty being applied. He will come through to finish in 6th place, and unfortunately in the very early stages of the race we lost Team Norfolk's Kevin Sterling. Hopefully that car can be fixed and out for their race later on. Obviously we've got this race just completed. We will break for lunch after this. Then it is the MSVT Track Day Trophy for their 45-minute race, followed by the second and final 20-minute Clio Cup GB race before we go back in Enduro car racing. Over the line now comes Richard Clark and takes the checkered flag. With that 10-second penalty applied as well. So he's had a fairly rotten start to his Clio Cup GB day. He gets to do it all again later on this afternoon, not only with the MSVT Track Day Trophy, but of course the second race for the Clio Cup GB. Westport Motorsport, they'll be over the moon with that one. They seem to be in a real rhythm on the Clio Cup GB package. Now it has returned to circuits around the UK, and we will hopefully see more and more of those Gen 5 Phase 2 chassis working their way into the UK. We have been hearing rumours, at least in the paddock this weekend, that there are 3 more on the way with a certain team, or at least 2 more on the way with a certain team, and a third potentially. All will be revealed, but hopefully next year we will have much bigger grids. But even still, what fabulous racing we have seen from the Clio Cup GB. Obviously, they all run a fabulous Michelin tyre. The lubricant sponsor, Rover Racing, obviously we're doing brilliant things as well, bringing the championship back to life throughout Great Britain, and with the MSVR, all their hard work in the background. Obviously, a massive thank you to the marshals that are allowing this weekend to happen. As we've got those cars on the in-lap, we will take a moment to thank all of the marshals, because they do a brilliant job pretty much every single weekend, in all weathers as well, in any conditions, rain or shine. Day or night, the marshals work endlessly to keep us racing. If you are interested in becoming a marshal, head on to marshals.co.uk, marshals.co.uk. Sign yourself up for a taste today, and you really do get an idea of exactly what goes into a race weekend. You will spend your morning, you'll be met by a very experienced team of marshals. You don't just arrive on your own. A very experienced team of marshals arrive, meet you at the gate, and they will take you around all of the flag posts, race control, timekeepers. Maybe you're unlucky enough to come up here into the commentary box, Park Fermé, assembly area, pit lane, absolutely everywhere. You spend in the morning, then in the afternoon you go out to your favoured place, and again, you're not just plopped there on your own, you are with a very experienced, friendly bunch, and it would be great to see more of you joining the Orange Army. So if you are interested in becoming a marshal and getting closer than any of us will to motorsport, do go on to marshals.co.uk and sign yourself up for a taste today. The cars just working their way into the pit lane. Hopefully Adam is down there as we peek out of the window. Yes, he is. I can see him down there. So Ben Colburn leads them into the pit lane. Dara Flock in tow. So Westport Motorsport with a 1-2. They'll be over the moon with that one. And then Nicky Taylor will arrive in tow. So they will come in first, second and third, awaiting their podium, so we'll be able to get the podium ceremony underway as well just before lunchtime. But Adam, you're down there in the pit lane. Talk us through what you can see. So unfortunately we can't hear Adam down there. We will have a check. He has definitely picked up the correct radio mic. Let's see if we can hear him now. Yes, we can. Down to Adam.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Might be better if I turn it on, but big victory there for Ben Colburn. A lot of fist pumping as well. A lot of happiness amongst the Clio Cup GB paddock. Ben Colburn gets his usual photos taken. I'm sure when we get the helmets off, we'll have the interviews taking place. I'll let Ben take off his gloves, take off his helmet, take off his harness device, but some really, really good racing here in the Clio Cup GB, especially between Nicky Taylor and Dara Flock. We saw them absolutely tooth and nail between each other, and a couple of chats with the team as well for both Nicky Taylor and Dara Flock. And there is Ben Jenkins putting on the Michelin hat, of course, the tyre sponsor for the Renault Clio Cup GB. Ben, it was a bit of a Sunday drive for you, lights the flag victory.
Yeah, it was an okay start, and then had a good bout with Nicky and Dara as well, and obviously they ended up fighting together, so I managed to get away, and then just maintain the gap, just needed to do what I needed to do.
Of course, it seemed like there was a very, very strong pace from you out there. How was it trying to wrestle this car around the circuit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great car. I mean, Alpine, they always do a good job with the cars when they build them from the factory. So, when we get more cars out eventually on the grid, it'll be much more exciting to watch as well.
We've been talking about this on the commentary, but how far can the Clio Cup GB championship go? Of course, the first year these cars have been out, and it's on the up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we started off with I think it was 5 or 6 cars, and now we're up to 7. So it's always on the up. That's the main goal. So by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have a few more, and then next year we'll keep building up.
And finally, of course, some really strong pace, but can that continue in race 2, or do you think there's going to be a bit more of a challenge from the cars behind?
Well, unfortunately, qualifying wasn't as good as I was hoping. I've got pole for this race, but starting P3 for the next one, so obviously it'll be a bit harder. But I think we'll do a few little setup tweaks, and I think it'll be good to go.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ben. I'll let you go and celebrate. I think we're waiting for now Dara Flock. Dara, you had a big old battle there with Nicky, but kind of tell us how that kind of went for you. Was it a good performance, or were there some improvements in there?
Yeah, there's a few improvements. It was, I got a really bad start. I almost stalled off the line, but yeah, battling with Nicky all race, and then Ben was just able to get away. So second was kind of the aim after I saw how big of a gap there was to Ben.
Is there still the potential of a victory, or is it mainly just trying to get podiums for now and just keep consistent?
No, it's mainly the starts I need to work on. They're the hardest part, really. I keep messing them up every race, so I just have to try and nail it down. So yeah, that's really it.
And of course, we do. You need, as you say, you need to improve those starts. Do you kind of have a plans to do that, or is it just every single race start, every single weekend, it's just going to keep going and improving?
It's more like trial and error, really, because I've never really done them. So every race I'm learning. So this race I knew what I'd do wrong, so now I have to try and change it for the next race.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure that you go and celebrate your P2. We're just waiting for the homeboy. He's heading over here. Nicky, it was a good race for you. It was a good race from potentially your standard, but I think a couple of more improvements in there, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I might get myself in trouble, but yeah, there's some few questionable moves that were happening, but it's what it is. It's clear racing, just got to kind of get through and try and push through to the front, but it's hard when stuff happens, but it's what it is, and move forward to race 2.
Of course, you were feeling pretty happy, bit of confidence in there as well. But is going to try and continue to a potential victory, or is it just about being consistent as well?
Hopefully so. I mean, I think we're starting second for race 2, so better chance, and hopefully just get past Ben, and then hopefully have a good battle. But it is what it is, and we know we're quick enough here, and we know we're on the pace, so should be good.
Of course, your home circuit, and just kind of tell us what it's like being at your home circuit, having success as well, and just trying to get this car, wonderful Renault Clio, around.
Yeah, it's lovely. I've got all my family here, all my friends, so it's really nice to come home and to race at home. We've always really done well here as well. We've done really well in minis through here, and in KAs when we've been here, we've done quick. So it's been a really good track for me. So hopefully we can just bring it home on the last one.
Absolutely, I'll let you go and celebrate and grab your P3 trophy. But yeah, we're now into the lunch break here at Snetterton Circuit. There's been so much action, including the Clio Cup GB, and there's been some really good mega stuff. After the lunch break, we will then have our MSVT Track Day Trophy, so the multitude of cars. We had that qualifying earlier, but the first time they'll see it, you guys will see it on the live stream. Then we'll have our second race for the Clio Cup GB, and then our 3-hour endurance for the Enduro KA. Of course, a brilliant race last time out. Yesterday, in fact, in the 3 hours, that was won by the Pro-Am number 12. But yeah, please do keep in tune with the live stream stuff. Go and eat at Tyrrell's if you are at the circuit, and do enjoy. Have a chat with the drivers, have a chat with, just go and have a look at the cars. And the lunch break starts now. We'll see you in a couple of moments' time.